XXL is the breakers for all you aspiring rappers who need a little help getting on. This is the place to get all the info on how to make it in hip-hop from some of the biggest and most experienced names in the game, like me, your dope boy Troy Ave. Pay attention as special guests drop knowledge to help you become a star. This is XXL's The Break Podcast.
What's up? This is Vanessa Satin from XXL. We're here bringing you XXL The Break Podcast, where new artists come first. Usually my sidekick for this, Miranda Johnson, is not with us today, but she is in spirit, so it's just me. And today's topic, we're doing how to build your team. This is episode 5, how to build your team. That's a big part of all of this is, bringing your boys in, having the momager, when to get rid of people on your team that aren't holding their weight, when you're a new artist and you walk around with 9 people and how that costs part of your budget, finding management, but really, you're not doing this on your own. There's definitely people that are involved with it, with you on the whole process and the whole journey. So it's kind of building that team of people that's going to help get you there. Who we talked to for this, we took 2 good interviews. We only thought we needed 2 this time around because they were both very strong. Cortez Bryant, COO of Young Money Entertainment, CEO of the Blueprint Group, manager to Lil Wayne. He's been affiliated with Nicki and Drake, and he's one of the guiding forces behind G-Eazy right now. Dope dude, really good interview, really informative from someone who's experienced this firsthand with an artist at all different levels. So let's get to Cortez Bryant.
Wayne, at the beginning of his career, started out rolling the quote-unquote cash money way with plenty of people now. And now you see him, everybody that's rolling with him has a job, we learned the hard way from that, waking up and knowing and seeing that you've blown millions of dollars, on hotels and travel for extra tag along for dead weight. Basically, people not really, doing anything. So, artists like Wayne, he welcomes all his friends if they're like in the same city as them, or or if we're in the city, come hang out. But as far as traveling and just tag along, he doesn't do anymore. Everybody who travels with him this day and age, as he's seasoned right now, is someone who has a job description that has a purpose out there on the road. I think most artists realize that as the years go by, after they see the financial impact, if in the beginning they want to just show all, it'd be out of goodwill, they want to show all their boys, and they want to show their boys, the time that they're experiencing, get them out of their cities, get them out of their neighborhoods, to show them a different life. But at the end of the day, that comes at a cost,
Right.
And you got to be careful of. You got to be careful when you're doing things like that, because you wake up and you'll be broke.
And you got to remember that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you got to remember that they're a reflection of you. So if you go and you're in Cincinnati for the night, and your boy gets in trouble at your camp, the headlines get reflected for names, right?
Oh yeah, that's a whole nother. There's so many dynamics of this that we could go into. Most definitely, because something goes wrong if one of the entourage, we out in the party, we out somewhere in the public, one of the entourage get into it with somebody, get in an altercation with somebody, that somebody is not going to say that entourage member did this to me. They'll go straight after whoever the artist is,
Right.
And then you're in court fighting lawsuits with a whole lot more money, So we've been down that road plenty of times also.
Right.
Dealing with.
What's the message? I mean, how do you, besides having to go down the road again, or, if you were to pick up a new artist now and you were working with somebody, to avoid those roads, what would be some of the things that you would tell them? Sometimes people have to learn on their own, especially when it involves having a good time. Taking your boys on the road or doing all that involves a good time. But what would be the most important things you would try to express that would give them the 2 cents of how to avoid some of that drama?
I mean, I would expect them to keep their circle, as we're moving and as you're moving through your career, to keep your circle to the people who have purpose, out there. People who are really serving the purpose for you, There could be times when you want to treat your boys, vacations, and nothing wrong with that, I wouldn't take that from them. But I was like, as you're traveling and handling business day to day, make sure that everyone out there has a purpose, and are adding value to the brand and what's going on. Bringing some type of working on something. Even if whether it's an assistant, publicist, camera guy, bag boy, somebody doing something to make sure that everything is moving.
But say you have your 10 friends and you want to take them on the road with you, or you want to take them wherever you're going. Sometimes you might have a few of those boys who just might not be cut out for whatever title you want to give them, right? I mean, not always will you be able to give your boy a title or give him a label or something. Sometimes there might be somebody who's more qualified for the job, and you're just doing it to bring your friend along, right?
That's a challenge. That's also a challenge in hiring family and friends. Definitely a challenge that I've seen also. Like I said, we could go into all kind of dynamics of this. Yeah, I mean, hiring family and friends is a whole different dynamic, just because
right.
A lot of people don't understand the dynamic of business and the personal side and separate it. It's hard to for your close friends and family to look at you in a different way when they grew up at looking at you one way all the time. When it comes down to running a business, it may be things that come out that's totally different. You have to be a total different person in maintaining a productive business and keeping your career going. So that's definitely a pickle. I think a lot of artists deal with that also, because the first thing they want to do is put their boys on, get their boys a check.
Right. If your life is changing, why not change theirs, right?
Yeah. So then they realize they always put themselves in the head like, oh man, some of them have the wrong intentions. They may just want to be out for the party and not look to not take the job seriously as the artist may want them, and most of the time is not respecting them as the bosses that they are. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, these guys that pay you are your boss, just like any other 9 to 5 that you would have. There's rules and responsibilities anywhere else you'll work. So that's definitely a hard dynamic. And I know I've seen a lot of my artists, damn near all of them, that's hired people that's close to them and fired people close to them just because
right.
of that. Just because they're too comfortable.
Right.
They don't respect me as a business person because we have this relationship, or they get in their feelings and they take it they take it very personal when the artists go off on them because they feel entitled, since they're friend, and they shouldn't be talked to like that when usually it's all out of good and all out of just positives for the business. My artists usually have I think all of them. I'm kind of attracted to the same type of artist when it comes to personality. They all have big hearts. So I've seen them hire again, hire again for a little while, fire the same friends. Keep giving them opportunities just because. But it's a changing process, and that's a whole nother dynamic. We go to all different type of dynamics of things that these new guys shouldn't do coming in or be weary of coming in as they're building their empires up.
Right, because it's the Wild West these days.
Right.
All right, so that was a great interview. Cortez always brings a lot to the table. Even when you're with him one-on-one, it's always an interesting conversation. And that's what you need. You need somebody like Cortez in your team who knows the business, who knows what they're talking about. And, of course, that definitely comes with experience. And not everybody is lucky enough to have the experience, or to have somebody on their team that has that experience. So I think there's a lot of things to pick up from speaking to Cortez. One of the most interesting things that I took away from it was when you have your boys, you have your brother, you have your family, you have somebody that's been close to you that comes a part of the team, and now you're paying them, and now they work for you. And are you going to get that respect? If your best friend now is getting paid by you, are you going to get that respect, or how do you get that respect from somebody who looks at you as a peer, not necessarily an employer? And I think that that's something probably a lot of artists have dealt with that we have no idea, why teams have broken up or different rappers and their managers have shifted, or their road managers or their publicists or whatever it is have broken up before. Is we don't know the inner workings, and the inner workings are how they kind of emotionally reacting to each other with this change. Just because one becomes the star and is public doesn't mean that everybody can ride along with that and feel that naturally, and some people can. So I think that part of hiring people close to you, you have to be very careful of that, because they're not going to respect you as often as the business person that you tend to become in front of their eyes. Sometimes they might think that they are that business person also. A lot of people don't understand the business that a new artist is dealing with, from how the actual record industry works to how you're getting paid for shows to all of that. So to take someone who's kind of the outside of the industry and expect them to understand how that's working is part of the challenge as well. So Cortez was very informative there. I learned a lot from that conversation, and I'm not even a new artist. And you got to just keep thinking that this is a business. This is a business, and you want to run it like a business. And connecting to that, we're going to talk to an artist. We talked to an artist, Ty Dolla. Ty has a new album, Free TC. He's a very talented guy, and you should check that album out and check out anything he's really working on, because he does know music. And Ty talked to us about having management decisions that you have to make, having people on your team that are family that were with you from the beginning, making those changes where you have to fire people that might be close to you. So let's listen firsthand to somebody who had to deal with some of this.
I actually went through a couple of managers, and then I found the ones that I liked. The reason I liked the managers that I picked was because I felt like they could do stuff that I didn't have reach. I met a lot of people from just doing music, and I met basically everybody, but certain people I didn't meet, and I knew that they knew, and that goes as far as different people at the record company, different head execs, to down to promoters at different clubs across the world and at different venues, and just by them having those contacts, I knew it would make my life easier, which it definitely did. So that's what I would look for in a manager if I was, giving advice to anybody else. Somebody that could bring something to the table other than what you could do on your own.
Well, how long or how early in your career did you wait till you really found a manager that was right for you? Was that something you felt you needed early on, or you wanted to wait a little bit to get to a certain level before you did?
You could say it was early on, but maybe not. It was probably a year or two after you rebooted, where I had different, homies that I would let handle different stuff, act like a manager role. But then I would start hiring, different people that claim themselves as managers, and not even saying anything bad about them. They handled what they were supposed to handle at that time. So I feel like there's definitely levels. So when you're at one level, it might be cool to just have the homie, do your little, day-to-day stuff. And then when you get to that next level, and different, magazines or different people want to start interviewing you, then you might meet another person at another level. And then when it comes to your own actual record, to having a day-to-day manager and a tour manager and a road manager and several different people. So it's definitely levels.
Do you think early on in your career you had a lot of people around you that weren't doing things and you thought they were? You always did, or did you have a lot of people that didn't know what was going on and you found at some point that you were more familiar with the industry than they were? When did you know that you had to kind of upgrade the team around you?
You learn that all the time, but it's not always them as well. But you just got to have people that are willing to learn, that are about you, that are about the project. So as long as you have people that are all on the same page, maybe you can keep the same team. I say it's better to keep the team rather than to bring a whole bunch of new people around into your business.
Right. How do you go about finding people? When you're looking for people for the next level, do you wind up interviewing people yourself in the industry for possible management, road management? How do you find out who's right for you and decide to connect with them on business?
Yeah, of course you're going to have to interview them once you meet them, but it happens to me through just being at the right place at the right time, or meeting them through another person that may be at a bigger level, and then you may ask them, yo, Wiz, what do you think about this? Do you know anybody? Or, just somebody on the, just your friends. It's just like with any job I think you get, whether it be music or whether it be you sell weed or you know, you work in, you know, like automobiles or whatever. You just ask around and see who people know, interview them, see if it works for you.
So the thing that you've experienced with bringing new people to the table around you is what they can do for you that you can't do yourself pretty much. And so it's not a one-man show. It's hiring people or getting people to handle the stuff so that it's treated a certain way when you don't have the time for it or the knowledge or experience?
Yeah, definitely. How can I answer that? You definitely got to just have people that all care about it the same way. I think if you're not on people directly, because you can't just leave it to them to handle it, because what happens is it's just like with a gardener, a pool man, a fucking person that works in your car, whatever. I think a lot of people, if you don't like give them instructions, they'll just like do a little half-ass job until you say something about it. Because if you don't know, then they'll figure like, okay, well, let me just do a little bit, and hopefully it all works. And that happens in everything, I feel like. So I definitely find myself just, you know, checking my fucking, crossing my T's and dotting my I's with everyone, you know, whether it be management or a pool man or whoever.
Right.
Yeah.
How do you go about switching your team up if you find that somebody's not doing the right thing at the moment, or if you need to take somebody who's got more experience? How do you go about having those conversations and moving people around in your team?
I'll just talk to them straight up and let them know, like, yo, this is my issue, or instead of even saying issue, just tell them, like, yo, can you do this more like this? I like it better like this. And, like, not making a problem, not making an argument. And then if there was ever a time where, like, I showed you a number of times on how to do something because I felt like you weren't doing it right, and then you still don't get it, and I have to, like, keep on saying it, then at that time, then it's like, yo, you're going to have to go work for somebody else.
Right. Anything last that you want to add for any new kind of, aspiring artists about, kind of building the team around you and on that journey?
Yeah, just make sure you have people there that really want to work. To me, it would be, ideal if you could have all your friends that you came up with working with. But sometimes it doesn't work like that. So just hire people that are professional and actually, do the job so you won't be angry all the time. And you'll still have your friends at the end of the day.
All right, so that was a lot from Ty. Definitely stuck out that there's levels to your career, and I think that goes for anybody. You're working on different levels, and you want the people around you to be at those levels. So you want to be on the same page, that you are both kind of graduating to the next level of your career together, or if you're working with somebody, that they are at that same level you are. If they're above you, they're going to maybe be disappointed with you. If they are below you, you're going to be disappointed in that functionality or how they're functioning. Another great part that Ty pointed out was that people are only going to usually do a half-ass job unless you're on them. So even if you've hired a team, even if you've hired people to do stuff and it seems like they're doing a good job, you still want to be able to stay on them and dot your I's and cross your T's to know that, so to have that person know that you're paying attention and that you're watching what they're doing. You can't just bank your whole career on somebody else and that they're going to be taking care of everything. You have to be just as involved with everything. Remember that working with your peers can be hard because this is a job. And like Cortez had mentioned, is that, when you're getting paid by somebody, they are your employer. And so what's that going to do to your relationship? Ty said that if you do have new people in the crew and you bring new people in, whoever you look for, you want to make sure that your projects and everything you do as an artist are as important to the new people you hire as it is to you, because that's how you're getting your money. That's the end game. And the last thing I thought that really stood out from Ty was, ask your friends, ask your peers. He mentioned talking to Wiz. He mentioned talking to other rappers before. It's okay to ask your peers things. You're kind of in this together. Even if you're competing to be the greatest rapper on the planet, you are kind of in this together, and you are going to meet mutual people and experience, a lot of the same people, because this is a small industry. So asking around firsthand experience, there's nothing wrong with that. Treat it like you would a real job. This is exactly what you chose to do. So I think all that was pretty interesting on how to choose your team. I can't tell you how many times we've seen teams break up, or just teams be built the wrong way, or teams cost rappers a fortune of money because they feel like they have to bring 9 people with them everywhere they go. So keep that in mind, because the checkbook isn't everlasting. The wallet isn't filled forever, especially early on. And the more you get used to having those people around you pulling at you, or kind of living off you, the longer it goes on, the less money you get for yourself. Also, your business people around you are the representation of you. And so, like we've heard people speak, you develop these relationships and they last, and you want to have people that can keep those relationships and are a good reflection of you. So stay tuned for next week. Our next episode is going to be what to spend your money on. Publicists, promotion, posters, flyers, radio, DJ, strip club dances, whatever it is. We're going to talk to, I think we've got some representatives from some record labels, some few more rappers, and that'll be informative ones. So this is Vanessa from XXL signing off on the Break Podcast, How to Build Your Team.